Hi there, it's Crystal here from the School of Manifesting Love, the premier love manifestation and dating program for women. I share content on understanding men in the masculine, dating as a high value woman, and manifesting love, so be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. I am so excited for what we're talking about today because we are going to be digging into and breaking down Netflix's newest dating experiment, Too Hot to Handle. This show is basically a masterclass in understanding men and sexuality, and it is just chock full of so much juicy stuff to dig into. So let's get started. And so, what I really want to talk about first is one of the things that's actually a sort of a recurring theme throughout the show, and it's a really important thing to understand for your own dating life and a really important way of understanding a way that men operate. And it's this concept of making a distinction between a man's sexual interest versus genuine interest. And what I mean by sexual interest is it is a different thing for a man to want someone sexually, to look at a woman and say, I desire this person's body, essentially. I want to connect with her on a physical level. I want to have sex with her. It is a different thing than when a man is looking at a woman and says, yeah, that's part of it, but I really want to know her at a deeper level. I think this is someone that I could have a meaningful connection with. This is really important to understand when you're dating, and the examples that I'm going to show from this show are going to absolutely blow your mind because this is a really challenging thing for women to get. And the reason it's so challenging to get is because when you're just getting to know someone, it looks the same. A man's sexual interest can really seem like genuine interest, like he's serious about you, like he's really interested in connecting with you at a deeper level, but it's not it. So we'll talk about sort of how to address that, but I want to give you an example so you can understand what I mean. So I'm going to play this clip for you.
Hey, you're beautiful. I like you in red. Keep it going.
I love red.
You stand out. All right.
Who are you looking at? Who are you thinking?
I'm interested in Chloe. She's good looking. I like that look, dark hair. I like model looking girls, skinny.
Do you see yourself with her, like, long term, though?
Bro, I don't even know if I really believe in marriage.
Well, but when I say long term, I mean, like, 4 weeks.
No, bro.
So this is the most perfect example because even the word that he uses, he doesn't say, I want her. He says, I'm interested in Chloe. It makes it sound like he's interested in getting to know her, right? Like that is how women usually interpret this. We think, oh, he says he's interested. He wants to get to know me. Maybe that's what he means, but maybe he just means he wants to have sex. Physically, you're the type of woman that he is most interested in having sex with. And this is important to understand because if you don't have, like, we get really mixed up with this, right? Because what happens is a guy will say that he's interested or he'll show interest. And we think he's genuinely interested, so we sleep with him. And then nothing more comes of it. And it's a really frustrating and upsetting situation. And so what a lot of dating advice will tell you is just like, you have to wait until this amount of time. Wait until it's been, 3 dates or 3 months or 90 days or whatever it is, some arbitrary amount of time. Wait until you're engaged. There's all these arbitrary timelines that people try to give as like a workaround for it. But that's not really going to get you where you want to be. Because the truth is if a guy is not connecting with you at a deeper level, it doesn't matter what the timeline is. If he wants to have sex badly enough, then he can reach that arbitrary deadline. What actually matters, what actually you have to get to that's going to make a difference, is level of connection. You have to be at a level of connection where he's already inspired to know you at a deeper level. And this is really interesting because what this means is that for certain men, you're going to be in a dynamic with them where you could sleep with him after the first date, after the second date, after 3 months, and it doesn't matter. He is going to want to know you at a deeper level. And you having sex with him is not going to be a deterrent. It's not going to be something where he's like, oh, I got what I wanted. Because he already feels compelled towards you. He already feels that connection. Whereas there are some men where you could sleep with him after 3 months, after you're in a committed relationship, and you will never be that person for him. He will never feel inspired to take the connection to a deeper level. Now, one of the things that waiting to have sex will do is give you more of a chance to see, like, how is he showing up over time? That's going to be a real tell. So if you've only gone out with someone twice and then you sleep with him, you haven't had enough time to gather information about him. That's the main draw, is that you don't have any information about him. But here's what else I can tell you is that for some people, this is going to be a bigger struggle than others. I actually have a free resource for you. It's a love type quiz, and it's going to tell you what your love type is. So, of all of the love types, the romantics and the sensualists are going to be the ones who struggle with this particular issue the absolute most. So definitely take the quiz. You can do that by visiting lovetypequiz.com and find out what type you are. I mean, again, this is really going to be applicable for everyone, but especially for those romantics and sensualists. I would not be surprised if this is an issue that comes up over and over again. So go ahead and take the quiz over at lovetypequiz.com. Let's look at another example because you're going to understand this even more when we look at some of the other couples and how their relationships unfold.
I think all the ladies look great, but I think I have my eye on Rhonda. She's kind of standing out a little bit more than everyone else. This is just an opportunity for me to show who I am and show how dominant I can be.
Oh, jeez. What's what it is?
You miss me?
No.
Come on.
I'm that little last chair.
Come on, you sit right here.
All right, cover that thing up. Please.
He tame, look.
Should I call animal control?
You don't mess with them, they won't bother you.
Oh, jeez. Real classy, buddy.
Yes, get comfortable.
Don't get too excited now.
I think you looked a little lonely over here.
A little bit.
Yeah.
That was all right.
I think you was hoping I came down here to see you. That's why you've been down here so long, huh? But I feel like you don't know what you want anyway.
Why do you figure that?
Because you just be staring at me.
I don't be staring at you.
It's like your eyes are sending a message that your mouth won't say. I feel comfortable right here, Lana. I can definitely get used to this.
Yeah. But with me right here? Or are you just comfortable here?
Obviously, with you right here.
Oh.
Are you smaller?
Nothing.
Uh-huh.
Nothing.
Things are definitely spicing up between Rhonda and I. I'm gonna go all the way.
Sharron's super confident. He's my ideal guy. And David, we haven't had that fluid conversation like me and Sharron have had.
Sharron and Rhonda are one of the couples that sort of develop throughout the course of the show. And their dynamic is really interesting because they click right away. Like, he is attracted to her, clearly. She is very attracted to him. And they just have an instant connection. And the thing that's very interesting about this is that he seems genuinely interested in her, as in at that deeper level that I'm talking about. But at this point, he's not. He is just flirting. And this is the thing that you really want to be aware of, is that flirting is flirting. What I hear from women all the time is they'll say, you know, I told my friend or I told my coworker that I had feelings for him and, you know, he didn't want to pursue things, but then he flirts with me. And I'm just like, that doesn't mean anything. Flirting is fun. Flirting is basically talking to someone and having fun and like allowing the sexual energy between the two of you to flow. That's fun. It feels good. And so someone flirting with you is not per se an indication of how they feel. Obviously it can be, but you cannot put so much weight where it's like, oh, if someone's flirting with me, that means that they want a relationship with me. No, it means that they're having fun. Now, Sharron is a really good example because he is really confident and he is very flirtatious. And the thing is that a lot of women are going to feel the same way that Rhonda did if they're with a man like that. So if you're someone who really likes men that are very confident, very charming, very forthright and driven and ambitious and have that sort of energy where they're not afraid to be dominant, it's extremely attractive, right? It's very compelling. But you want to stay aware of where the relationship actually stands. So if you're in your first interaction with this guy, instead of being like, ooh, there's really something here, this could be really special, you have to understand that he is creating that sensation with most women that he talks to. This does not make him bad. This does not make him wrong. This does not per se mean that he's a jerk or a player or doesn't want a deeper connection with someone. He very well may. But you want to understand that a lot of women are going to feel that way towards him, and it does not always mean that it's real. What most women do is they say, I feel this particular way in this moment, and so that shows how real our connection is. That shows how strong this relationship is. That's not what that shows. That shows what your feelings are. It just shows what your feelings are. And his energy may be entirely focused on you when you're in a moment where you're flirting, when you're in a position that feels, sexual and heated. It does not show you anything about a man's actual, genuine interest in you. And another note that I'll make about something that Rhonda said was that, after speaking with him for this sort of short amount of time, she says, Sharron's my ideal guy. He is super confident. And I haven't had as fluid of a conversation with David, this other guy who's also interested in her. Do not determine that someone is your ideal guy after these short interactions. This is something that women do, and it really trips them up and it slows them down, because when you are thinking in your head, well, this is my ideal guy, it puts a lot of pressure and energy to make it work with him. Instead of just saying, this is a guy who has some qualities that I like. Like, do you feel how much less charged that is when you just say, this is a guy who I think is physically attractive. This is a guy who has a lot of confidence, which I find attractive. When you say this guy is my ideal type, or this guy has everything that I want, or this is basically my perfect guy, it's like you're telling your brain, focus on all the reasons I have to have him. It creates an energy within you where it's like, it has to be him. It has to be him. I can't see that it'd be anyone else because this is my ideal guy. And if he's not my ideal guy, if he doesn't return my feelings, if he doesn't keep showing up for me, if he loses interest, what am I going to do? It creates this very frantic energy. And that ends up becoming a deterrent. You're going to push him right away before you get to see, is this actually my ideal guy? But I can tell you what, there is 0% chance you can know that someone is your ideal guy after one conversation, especially not after a flirty conversation where he's basically trying to get a kiss, if not more. Like, he's trying to get whatever he can. And she's feeling like, wow, we're building a genuine connection already. This is so great. And he's thinking, I'm getting closer to sex. This is the way that men operate. And not all men, obviously, but we're going to talk in generalities here because it's really worth understanding. Because what women do is we operate a certain way, right? And it's like when men don't operate in that same way, we make them wrong. It's like, how dare he do that? Like, they're so horrible. They're so wrong for operating that way. And it's like, no, they're not. They're just different than we are. And when you can understand that and even appreciate that and just have the awareness so that it can benefit you, it allows you to relax so much when it comes to men. It allows you to just connect with the man in front of you instead of projecting either his goodness or his badness, right? And like, you can actually just see what unfolds. But what you want to understand is that when a man does not know you, he may not know anything about you. He may not have any interest in you other than for what you can provide him sexually. Okay? And that's just what it is. If he sees you and he thinks you're attractive, he may want to have sex with you. And until he feels that maybe there is more than sex, that's going to be all there is. That's it. Like, you are an opportunity for sex until it seems like you're more than an opportunity for sex. And what a lot of women do is they sleep with the man before he has the opportunity to see if she is more than sex. And we get so upset about this. But it's like, it's not something to be mad at them about. It's about understanding. A man can want to have sex and nothing more. Like, and that's not wrong. It's not bad. It's just different than the way that most women operate. Most women do not just want a man for sex. That's part of it. Women have strong desire. Women want sex. But it's not generally the way that most women are thinking about men, right? Most women, most of the time, generally are always hoping that there's more of a connection. And the sex is like an additional benefit, right? I remember that I used to feel really bothered by this idea that, like, why would he just want me for sex? I'm so much more than that. And it's true. Of course I'm so much more than just what I can provide sexually. But he does not know that. How could he know that? We don't know each other yet. Women do the opposite. And we don't know anything about a guy. And we're like, oh, I think this guy could be my husband, right? Like, he could be my perfect person. Like, maybe this is the guy I've been waiting for my whole life. Women do the same thing. And it's like, really, which one is worse? Like, women often start fantasizing about a lifelong commitment to a total stranger. Guys just thinking about sex. So, whatever. But what I found really striking about the conversation that Rhonda was having with Sharron was that because he is so confident, he was really just sort of talking at her. It wasn't even a conversation. It was just him sharing his thoughts and sort of projecting. And he clearly has at least somewhat of an understanding of women, of what women like to hear, of what makes them feel good, of what turns them on, essentially, right? He's a very good looking guy. And he is on a show for people who have a lot of meaningless flings and connections with people that don't go anywhere. So, he might be on one end of the spectrum, but there's a lot of men that you might encounter in your life who are also like that, where they just know how to talk to women, where they are very fluid when it comes to their conversations with women. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they are forming a genuine connection with you. It means that they are sort of moving towards their own goals, sex. Okay? But he's talking and he's basically just projecting. He could be having that same conversation with any woman, and he's saying things that would throw her a little off, right? He's saying, I don't think you really even know what you want. I think you wanted me to come down here. He doesn't know her. He has no idea what she's thinking. He's flirting, and it's pretty effective, obviously.
The closer I've gotten to Rhonda, boy, the harder it is to refrain from sex. Like, she's just a walking temptation. Her body is amazing. Definitely will take a lot of self-restraint. I mean, there's no guarantee I'm gonna be able to hold out.
Whew. So, you want to talk about all the shit she didn't say we couldn't do, so.
Come on, we out.
That's like 50 grand. That's gonna be like 50 G. The pot is empty. She's gonna announce it tomorrow. You have approximately
The retreat
$7
is over.
left.
I think memories are worth more than $100,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, you leave here
Memories of
the
me?
memories are priceless.
Memories. We know what you really mean, Sharron.
And what's really interesting about this is that they're spending this time together and they're physically getting close. And he says, as I'm getting closer and closer to Rhonda. And it's like they're laughing and they're having fun and they're in the sun and this beautiful island. And it could probably feel like they're creating a real connection, but like they actually haven't yet connected on anything other than that they want each other. This is a really common thing that happens if you're with someone who you feel a lot of chemistry with, if you feel that pull towards, is that you think that you're actually getting to know each other, but you're not. As of yet, he has not expressed anything other than that he is feeling a greater and greater desire for sex. Not that he can see a future with her, not that he wants to know more about her, not that he wants to understand her at a deeper level, just that he really, really wants to have sex with her. And the more time he spends with her, the more he wants to have sex with her. But we've already talked about that is not what makes a man fall in love or commit to someone. For you, as the woman, and it's like, what women will say to me is they'll be like, well, why is this my responsibility? Like, why do I have to, whatever? Like, why do I have to, like, pay such close attention to, like, what he's doing? Like, why do I have to be the one to stay aware? And it's like, you don't. You absolutely don't. Like, you do not have to be aware at all. But if you want something different, then you're going to do something different, right? So it's like, if you want to just not stay aware of this stuff, then have at it. But you want to understand sort of like maybe why situations keep turning out the same way. Because like there's a clear pattern here. The man is not going to be the one to keep things grounded. So if you don't just want a sexual physical relationship with someone, the impetus is going to be on you because he's not going to. He's just not. Because he doesn't really care either way. He's like, I'll either just have sex or maybe it'll be something more, but most likely I'll just have sex. And he's cool with that. If you're cool with that too, then great, enjoy. If you want something more, then you can make a couple of very small tweaks that allow you to experience something completely different. If I were in Rhonda's position and I really liked Sharron because it seems like she does, like she's actually wanting to get to know him, I would push him to take the conversation deeper. Instead of just talking about how sexy we both are and how we can disregard all the rules and, forget what Lana says, let's just do it, I would have an actual conversation with him. Men are happy to have conversations. Like, even when they really want to have sex, if they are starting to get to know you and like you, they're going to be cool having that conversation. So it's like, I would just change the topic, talk about something other than sex. She's stunning and she's sitting there in a bikini. So she doesn't need to talk about sex for him to be thinking about how beautiful she is. Like, he just is. So it's like, steer it someplace else. Allow space for that actual connection. Like, that is something that you can start to create. And here's the other thing is that this is a really good opportunity to gather information. If you try to move the conversation somewhere else other than just about flirting and sex, and he won't have it, that's a big tell, right? If he's basically just like, I just want to talk about sexual things with you, I just want to sort of tease each other and get each other turned on, that's a good tell. It's not a bad thing. It just means that he's being pretty clear about what he wants with you. And you can then make a decision from that place. Is that what I want also, or is there something different that I want? Women sometimes get this information and they disregard it. I don't know why. I guess because it feels like once he gets to know me better, it'll be different. But if he doesn't get the chance to know you better before he has sex with you, then that chance may be gone for good. Now, it's really interesting when we see Francesca and Harry sort of get started with their dynamic, because right away, Harry is extremely attracted to Francesca. He thinks that she is beautiful. And of all the women there, she's really the only one that he expresses any interest in. At this point, he doesn't know her yet. So yeah, he wants her, but he wants her sexually. He is galvanized enough by how beautiful he thinks that she is that there definitely could be more. She could be someone more significant to him. But at this point, he hasn't had enough time for anything to develop in terms of actual feelings, in terms of actually wanting to get to know her at a deeper level. All he knows is that he thinks that she's stunningly beautiful. What's interesting then is that she's really attracted to him also. And so right at the beginning, she makes it a little bit easy for him. You know, she is very much just acting on her sort of primal urges, which is like, I want him. And so she just kind of goes over to him and just like makes it really easy. This is really important to understand. And this is where it's like, it's easy to confuse sort of like playing games versus just like giving a relationship a little bit of space. What we see, and I'll show you as we get further into this, is that she made it a little too easy for him. And that kept him from really connecting with her at a deeper level. And so right away, he sort of takes it for granted, right? And so it's not that she can't act on what she's feeling, but if what you want is something deeper to develop, then you want to give it a little bit more space, because he doesn't know what he feels yet. Right now, he just knows beautiful, beautiful woman I want physically. If that had been acted on, that may have been the end of it. It probably would have gone even smoother. There probably would have been fewer hiccups between them if she had not made it so easy, if he had had to actually come to her. Men, especially men like Harry, they don't mind a little challenge. Like, he wanted her because she was the hottest girl there. He was very attracted to her. And so for him to have to chase her a little would not have been a deterrent. He would have liked that. And in the process of having to chase her, of having to actually make an effort to spend time with her, to be in her presence, to have her body, he may have been able to see if there was something more. So that's what I'm saying. It's not about playing a game where you're like, I'm going to wait 3 days before I kiss him. It's about allowing him the space to say, wow, I actually want to know more about you. I actually want to spend time with you. It is worth it for me to like get up off my ass and try to move things forward with you. That's like a bare minimum, right? Like, of course you want him to actually have to move, to make a move. Otherwise, it's like he isn't doing anything. He's literally just laying back and allowing a beautiful woman to come to him. There's not as much in it for him when he doesn't have to do anything. It's like right away, there's a sense of like, well, I've got her in my pocket. As hot as he thinks she is, it's made it much more simple. Harry is another example of someone who clearly knows what to say to get what he wants from women. He and Sharron, especially at the beginning, are like very, very similar. Not in the way that they appear at all, and actually not in their delivery, but what they have in common is they're both extremely confident when it comes to women, and they're very charming. They know what to say. Harry even sort of specifically says, you know, he's projecting here. He says to someone else, I feel like every woman you meet falls in love with you. And he's like, well, I actually have that problem where every woman I meet falls in love with me.
But I feel like every girl you sleep with falls in love with you. I kind of have that problem because I give them boyfriend dick. And then it's just
What's boyfriend dick?
So it's not too big, not too small, just perfect, looks pretty. They're literally just like, yep, this is my boyfriend.
Just the right size.
And it's like, I don't doubt him. Like, I believe that a lot of the women that he meets are really charmed by him because he's charming. He's not gorgeous, And so what happens is that sometimes women think that like because someone isn't gorgeous, like he doesn't have like a chiseled jaw, he's not all muscly, he's cute, and he's very tall, which obviously goes a long way with a lot of women. He's very tall. I think he's like 6'5". And he's nice looking. He's got nice eyes, and he knows how to talk to women, essentially. He's so confident. He's so charming. He goes with the humor very, very hard. And he doesn't seem intimidating. He comes across like a really sweet, nice guy. I'm not saying he's not a sweet, nice guy, but it's deeper than that because he knows what he's doing. He's not innocent or naive. He very much knows what he's doing. And so this is really something you want to stay aware of if you're someone who really appreciates that charm and confidence. Because these charmers, they can be dangerous. Like, because what happens when someone is that charming? It means that they're spending a lot of time curating their persona, making sure that they come across a certain way. And when someone is spending a lot of time making sure that they come across a certain way, it means they're going to be spending less time tending to you, caring about you, making sure that all is well with you, right? Because they're focused on themselves. You know, what do people think of me? How am I coming across? Does she like me? Does everyone like me? Do people think I'm funny? Do they think that I'm skeevy? Do they think that I'm a jerk? He's focused on himself, and he is focusing on coming across in a very particular way to most of the people. He really wants to be, you know, the goofy, charming, funny, good guy that everyone sort of falls for. But the way that he probably uses that in his regular life is to have sex with more women. The people that they're going to be in relationships with, they definitely want to have sex with, but like they want something more as well. It's not a correlation, and it's not a sort of thing where it's like if he wants you sexually enough, he's going to want more. Or, you know, there's this myth that a lot of women believe that if the sex is good enough, or if I'm wild enough, or if I do something this particular way, if I'm good enough in that way, he'll want to stay. And that does not work at all, because for a man in a relationship, there's a lot more than sex. Sex is an aspect, but it's not everything. If he just wants sex, then it's everything. But if he wants more than that, he wants a lot more. And it's sort of a myth that women have bought into, that like you can be good enough at sex that he'll never leave. And it serves men that women believe this. Like it serves them, because then it's like they have women trying to impress them and trying to, you know, bend over backwards and do acrobatics for them. And they know very well that like that's not going to be what makes him stick around, or especially not what makes him fall in love or feel the inspiration to commit to someone. But women don't get that, right? We sort of buy into that, where it's like, oh, I just have to be sexy enough. It has to be fun enough. It has to be different enough. I have to be adventurous enough. And that'll do it. It's like, that's not it. Harry's funny because he is so charming and he just can get away with so much. And you can see how this probably plays out when he's back home.
I'm reassure that my heart's in the right place by having sex.
Oh, yes. Possum al fresco.
I feel like sex is like so valuable to really figure out how you truly feel.
I guess.
But you know what we want, okay? Lana isn't the police. We're gonna go down here, have this chat, I'm gonna kiss you, and then it's just gonna be on. And no one will know.
I'm just a little bit annoyed because all I want to do every time I look at him is kiss him, and I can't kiss him, and it's definitely frustrating.
Well, what have we got to lose?
100K?
I wish I could resist. I hope I don't regret this decision, but he's so cute.
Also, I think we should have sex.
What was I thinking?
Pretty much broken the first rule, so if I could take a couple minutes of your time today. We've already fucked up. We may as well just do the whole lot.
He just kissed me. I'm not gonna lie, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I am a rule breaker, but I don't think that people are gonna be very happy with us or how much that kiss cost the group.
And so he basically says, you know, I think we should have sex so I can show you that my heart's in the right place. Now, it works out well that they are in this setting where they are not supposed to have sex, where it's like they're breaking rules. And so Francesca does hold back. They do not have sex. They just kiss, even though he's sort of pushing for it a little bit. But when if he had done this in any other setting, if he had met a girl at a bar or in class or at work or whatever, he could have used that exact same thing and it probably would have worked. Because he's cute and he's charming and he's super tall and like she's already vibing with him. And he's basically just being like, you're so irresistible, right? And like, that's what we all want to hear. That's how we want to feel, that like, oh, he can't resist me. I'm so amazing. But what would normally happen is that he would say that, let me show you that my heart's in the right place. And then he's saying, you know, I think it's a really good way of getting clear on how you really feel. But I would bet that every time he did this before this show, he did something similar to that. And then he'd have sex and he's like, actually, my feelings weren't as strong as I thought. And I don't think he's a bad dude. He seems like, you know, an okay guy, just young and kind of ridiculous. But he hasn't had enough time for real feelings. So it's like there's this tension building. There's this sexual tension that's building up between him and whatever woman he has his sights on. And when he has sex, it releases all that pressure. And now the tension that was keeping his energy directed on her is gone. It's just completely dispersed. And there was not enough of a connection there for him to continue getting to know her. So I think that's the same thing that would have happened even with Francesca, who he obviously was very, very excited about. My guess is this is sort of the energy he always brings to women that he's initially interested in. This is also a really good example of men will say anything to get what they want. You know, he is just throwing different things out there and trying to see if anything turns the wheels in her head. He's just like watching. He's like, you know, we should just get out of the way. I can't resist you. We've already messed up. We might as well just go all the way. Like, he's just throwing out whatever he can. And she's thinking about it, but she's not really like letting on that she's thinking about it in such a serious way. And so he's just tossing things out. And like, this is what guys do. He is going to say the thing that he needs to say to get what he wants. This is really upsetting. If you're taking him really, really seriously, if you're really taking whatever words he's using right now, very literally, it's going to be really distressing when you find out that they weren't 100% honest. And it's not that he's intentionally being dishonest. It's not that he's trying to be a jerk and that he's planning on blowing you off. It's that he is focused on a very particular goal and he's sort of doing whatever it takes to get to that goal. Now, one thing that I will say is that Harry is very young. I think he's 21 when this was filming. So what that means is that not that young guys should get a free pass, but it's a big difference dealing with a man who's 21 and saying these things versus a man who's 41 and saying these things. Harry is not yet refined. He is still going to grow up. His brain's not even finished developing. He's a young guy. So I would say I would be looking at it much more harshly if he were 31 or 41. Okay? And that's just it. He's very, very young. He's a college age guy. I mean, frankly, when I was in college, I heard all of this stuff. Like, this is how college guys are. Like, and to an extent, he cannot help it. His brain is so flooded with hormones, as teenage girls are, you know. He's not a teenager technically, but it's the same sort of vibe where it's like there's an aspect of it where he cannot help that is the only thing that he is focused on and thinking about. He has a very singular goal, and he is really, really trying to accomplish it.
I know Francesca can't really keep her mouth closed. I know she'll tell Haley we kissed, and I'm sure it's going to start a domino effect. I need to tell the boys about it so I look like less of an asshole.
Now see, this is exactly what we were talking about, right? This is the problem with the charmer, is that he has spent all this time curating his persona. So what does he say? He says, I need to go tell the boys so that I look like less of an asshole. That is what he's focused on. He hasn't formed enough of a connection with this woman to say, you know, I need to make sure she's okay. I need to make sure she doesn't feel bad. I need to check on her. Or anything like that. He's not thinking about her. He's thinking, how do I look? I want to make sure that I look good, that I look cool, that I don't look like an asshole. And then listen to this apology that he does.
We them boys.
I just fucked up.
What have you done?
Firstly, I want to start with my 3-part apology.
A 3-part apology.
I'm sorry. The biggest one, boys, deeply. The second bit is, I'm still young. The third one is, I'm pretty sure everyone else would have just done the same if she was given.
I think you kind of missed out the part as to telling us what you're sorry for, mate.
Yeah, so there was a bit of heat of the moment, and then we kissed.
What?
Wow.
No!
Okay, so Harry's like, let me just say that I messed up. I have a 3-part apology. But it's not a 3-part apology at all. It's a 1-part apology with 2 excuses. He is not taking any level of responsibility. He said, I'm sorry, I'm young, you would have done the same thing. That is a terrible apology. And that gives you some insight into like the level of like sincerity. Like he doesn't mean it at all. He's just trying to cover his ass a little bit because he knows that they're going to be pissed because they're the first ones to break the rules. There's no actual remorse. And like, that's fine. He doesn't need to feel remorse. He kissed a beautiful girl. Like, I don't know how many guys are really going to be so sorry about that. But I do think it's telling the way that he presents this, where it's like, I have a 3-part apology. Like, he is used to doing things that he sort of knows is not the right thing, and like people being mad at him and him knowing how to like turn the heat down. Like, this is something that he does. He is quite good at it. And I mean, they back off of him really, really quickly. Which again, I think is fine. I don't think that they did something so egregious. It's just within the context of the show, they broke the rules. But that is not someone taking responsibility. That is not someone with the level of emotional depth or emotional maturity that's going to make for like a really strong, ideal partner. Now, I do believe that people grow and people change. And like I said, he is very young. So I give him way more leeway than I would give any of the other guys, actually. But still, I would notice if someone ever apologizes to you like that because that is not a strong showing. Okay, so this is the worst part of all of this because then...
I was vulnerable, okay? I'm vulnerable.
You just cost me 3 holidays, 3 nights in the resort.
She kissed me. She kissed me. She kissed me. In the heat of the moment, I've told the boys that Francesca's actually kissed me when I'm pretty sure I may have initiated that. Yeah, what they don't know won't hurt them. Bless the lads.
Not only has he now given the world's worst apology, but then he lies. He lies. He just completely lies. He says, she kissed me. Again, he is so focused on what makes me look better. I look better. I look cooler if I say that not only is this not my fault, but I've had this beautiful woman kiss me. In this context, it is not true. He kissed her. He really was trying to talk her into it. So... I don't know. He's not showing up right now. Like this is not behavior that I would be looking for if I were looking for a serious partner. It's really, really poor behavior. And like for a guy to lie to make himself look better, you know, and sort of like throw you under the bus. And then it's like he sort of has an opportunity to say, okay, that's not true. I kissed her when they're in front of the whole group. But he does not take that opportunity. He's like, I'm going in on this story that I've already told. Fact. That's a fact. He knows very well that that is not what happened, but he doesn't care. He doesn't want to look like the jerk, and he knows how cute and charming he is, and that everyone is essentially going to side with him. And they do. They completely do. Francesca does not come across as charming. She's beautiful, but like Harry really knows how to operate with people, how to garner empathy and sympathy and to just get people to like him. He comes across as very likable. He's extremely charming. And those are the dangerous ones. You know, it's like those are the guys you really, really want to watch out for because it's going to take a little bit longer to understand what their true intentions are and if there is true potential there because it could come across like there is. Like this could be the one, like this is a really great person, like this is your person even. And there's something completely different under the surface. And he really just sort of continues with it. He's like, I didn't even know what I said. He does not want to take an ounce of responsibility. Like none. He's just like he just has selective amnesia. He's like, I don't even know what I said. That just came out. Like this is a man who is not empowered. He's not taking responsibility for who he is, for the things that he says, for the things that he does. And he's not lied to this whole group of people right in front of this woman that he claims to really like. But you can understand that there's a big difference now between being interested in someone just sexually and wanting something deeper. Because if he were looking at her as, this is my potential future wife, this is someone I could really be with, he would not be doing that, right? That would really go against his own sense of honor as a man, right? Because men do have a different relationship with honor and with duty. And if this were a woman that he was already feeling galvanized towards, he would want to defend her and sort of protect her. And he's doing the opposite. None of his male instincts to protect and provide are at play here. He is like, you're on your own. I have nothing to do with you, bitch. And that is not a fun place to be in as the woman who thought that something was actually developing between them because he came across so sweet and genuine. Everyone else feels that too. Like, they are firmly on Team Harry. They turn on Francesca pretty quickly. And, even later, some of them are saying, like, I think that Harry is the most genuine guy here. Like, I trust him so much more than I trust her. Everyone believes him. No one even thinks to question him because he is so charming, because he has created this really adorable facade. And you really want to stay aware of that because no one else is going to be hurt in this situation by his facade, by his lies, as Francesca. She thought that they were developing something real. And now she's seeing that at this point, that was not the case. Okay, so I want to talk about Chloe here. Chloe is very interesting because we see her throughout the show involved with several different people, sort of having crushes on different people, starting to see if something will unfold. Chloe is interesting because there's a couple of things that we see from her. She seems to actually want to have a connection. We see her interested and want to pursue several of the guys. She does not really know how to create a connection beyond sexual. She really only knows how to lead with her sexuality and sort of attempt to stir desire with a man. And she really enjoys the chase. She does not like the guys that are interested in her. And if someone starts to show interest in her, she doesn't feel anything. So she likes the chase. She wants the one that she feels like is a little bit unattainable. And it sort of creates this thing where it's like she then leaves with her sexuality because she's like, well, guys always like that, but then she still gets rejected. This is a common thing that comes up, but what you have to understand is that what makes a man sexually desire someone and what makes him want to be in a relationship are like they're unrelated. Men will have sex with so many people that they would never want a relationship with.
His heart almost stopped.
Yeah?
Is it you?
You wish.
It wasn't?
Why did you think it was her?
I don't know.
Thanks, Harry. He didn't even think it was me that kissed him. I mean... Harry's got his eye on Francesca. The perfect one.
And we also get a really clear glimpse of Chloe's insecurity, right? Because she compares herself to Francesca. Of course he wants Francesca, the perfect one. It's like here she is, obviously quite pretty, very, very thin and tall with sort of the model figure. She's got a lot of hair. A lot of people are going to be very attracted to her, but she's always going to look at the woman that's more attractive than she is. She's always got her eye on the guy that doesn't want her instead of, maybe the many that do.
Oh, you got it. I've been dipping my finger in.
Is that why there's half of it missing?
Is this turning you on? Can you hear the wetness, David?
Oh, God, you joker. Give me a finger.
That's assertive. I like that. Eye contact.
A finger suck? Technically not a rule break.
I think we can definitely say there's like sexual chemistry.
Yeah, don't make me get up too quick.
Is that why you've crossed your legs?
Don't know what you're talking about.
You've crossed your legs.
Guys, I don't think that's the kind of growth Lana's looking for.
I'm not really used to anything like this. I've never had anyone do anything like this for me. I know you didn't do it, Lana did.
Lana's a sneaky little lady,
Lana's
isn't
a babe.
she? She sorted us right out.
Are you...
So Chloe says that she's never had anyone do anything like this. They're at this table with these candles and there's flowers and chocolate covered strawberries, and I'm just like, of course you've never had anyone do things like this for you because you don't require it. We set the standards. Like, you as the woman, you set the standard. So if you're putting out immediately, if you're leading with sex, if you're giving off the impression, like Chloe, that you are only interested in sex, that's what you're going to get. Why is a man going to pull out all the stops and, set up some romantic thing if you don't show that you require romance? And that's what it is that she doesn't seem like she needs anything more than that. Like, she just doesn't. And if you don't require more, it's like, you want to understand. Men are judicious with their energetic resources. They're judicious. So he's not going to put out more energy than he has to. But you've seen men just do so much, pull out all the stops, make such an effort, plan elaborate things, say the most romantic things, propose, get married to women, right? Like, you've seen men do so much. So it's not that they won't, but they're not going to do it if it's not what they need for their ultimate goal. So his goal isn't going to be anything more than sleep with you until there's a reason for it to be more than sleep with you. Okay? So it's not that they're being shallow. It's just like, if he doesn't know anything about you and all he knows is that he wants to have sex with you and you're like, oh, okay, great, let's do that. Then, okay, that's it. Like, that's as far as it's going to go. And that's how Chloe is clearly leading these things. She is not making it into a, let's really get to know each other. If you want time with me, then like, I have to see that you're showing up for me. She's just like, hey, is this turning you on? Like, let me see what I can do to turn you on. What kind of sexual things can I do without breaking the rules of this game? Which is exactly what she does here again. And it's like, she's initiating all of this. This is so not David. But it's going to be challenging for a man to say, like, stop doing these sexual things. I just want to talk to you. He doesn't know her yet. He doesn't know if he wants to know anything more. So she's leading with the sex, and he's going to go ahead and follow that particular lead.
Are you a one-night stand type of guy?
Oh, no. I mean, them chickens you're counting way too early. I like where your head's at.
I'm joking.
You caught me off guard. You're making me blush now.
I want to eat more chocolate, though. We're not allowed to kiss.
Yeah, Lana would not be happy.
Bloody kill me.
She would, and so would the rest of the
But I feel like we should try and get as close as we can.
without breaking the rules.
You're not allowed to touch my lips. You've got to bite.
This is so dangerous.
You ready?
Oh, God, there's not much left on that strawberry, is there?
What are they doing?
All right, come here. I can do this. Dave, you've got so much self-control.
Another Lana loophole? These guys are creative.
Better not cost me money.
Oh, God.
Ooh, that's very close.
We didn't touch.
Lana has given them a taste of how things could be.
Have I got chocolate on my teeth?
And taught them a strawberry is about as fruity as things can get,
I'm all right.
without costing the big bucks.
We haven't lost any money,
Yeah.
and we've made a deeper connection with each other.
Yeah.
We've had top bands, we've had a few drinks. Obviously, you're very pretty, fun, outgoing, bubbly, energetic,
Wait.
attractive. I mean, as far as dates go,
Yeah.
could you ask for much more?
When do we get married? Like, I knew that he fancied me a little bit, but like now I know that he's actually into me. I'm trying to understand a deeper connection. Lana. He's gonna be so proud. I feel like I've done it good.
Again, more sex conversation. Jess asking if he's a one-night stand type of guy. So it's like, it's nice that she's playful, you know? I think sometimes when women want to get to know someone at a deeper level, we can approach dating with like a level of seriousness where it's like, you need to answer my questions. You need to show me that you're this type of man, that you're going to be this type of husband, this type of father. And it can get very heavy and intense. So it's really nice that she has this playfulness and she is flirting and allowing it to just really be fun. So I think like we could take a lesson in terms of that. But again, it's like she's leading with the sex and it's like, that's not on David. David's not the one trying to get them to do as much as they possibly can without actually kissing. That's her. She is not giving any space for something deeper to develop. You know, and then it's like she's looking back and she's like, I don't understand why there isn't more. Like, I don't know if there's anything more there. And it's like, of course you don't. You spent the whole time just leading with sex. Like, how are you going to know if there's anything more there? You did not talk about anything. You didn't really even give him space to talk about anything else. So there are some of my thoughts on Netflix's newest dating experiment, Too Hot to Handle. This show had quite a bit of content, and there were so many other topics that I could have really gone into and followed the relationships a little bit more deeply. But what I really wanted to do is just give you a way of looking at all this so that it's applicable to you and your dating life, and understanding some of these distinctions between, this genuine interest versus sexual interest, and, how a man is thinking at the beginning of a relationship can really serve you well. So I hope this did serve you immensely. Like I said, if you'd like to take my love quiz and discover your love type, go to lovetypequiz.com. I'll also be sure to link it below. And if you love the video, which I hope you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment letting me know. And I will see you again soon.